points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. Well, England women also play. They take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they opted not to renew his contract. He's not played football since December 2024 after being injured in a serious car accident. Meanwhile, Chelsea manager Liam Rossini has said that Cole Palmer is absolutely fine. That was after fears that he'd suffered an injury in the Blues' defeat against Arsenal on Tuesday. In rugby union, Wales fly half Sam Costello has been ruled out of the Six Nations game versus Ireland on Friday due to an ankle injury. While in the domestic game, Bristol Bears have signed back row forward Ethan Stadden from rivals Bath for the 2026-2027 season. In boxing, Richard Riakporhe will fight Jimmy TKV for the British heavyweight title. That's going to be on the Tyson Fury comeback undercard on April the 11th. Well, finally in darts, Bo Greaves has been drawn against Daryl Pilgrim in the opening round of the UK Open. Luke Littler returns as defending champion. Greaves features in the 160-player field, which is competing at Butland's Minehead Resort, with the action getting underway on March the 6th. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. On Monday evening in the Championship, Middlesbrough secured a 3-1 win at Birmingham City. Matt Targett scored twice for the first time in his career as Borough boosted their automatic promotion hopes. Middlesbrough are 5 points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. Well, England women also play. They take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they opted not to renew his contract. He's not played football since December 2024 after being injured in a serious car accident. Meanwhile, Chelsea manager Liam Rossini has said that Cole Palmer is absolutely fine. That was after fears that he'd suffered an injury in the Blues' defeat against Arsenal on Tuesday. In rugby union, Wales fly half Sam Costello has been ruled out of the Six Nations game versus Ireland on Friday due to an ankle injury. While in the domestic game, Bristol Bears have signed back row forward Ethan Stadden from rivals Bath for the 2026-2027 season. In boxing, Richard Riakporhe will fight Jimmy TKV for the British heavyweight title. That's going to be on the Tyson Fury comeback undercard on April the 11th. Well, finally in darts, Bo Greaves has been drawn against Daryl Pilgrim in the opening round of the UK Open. Luke Littler returns as defending champion. Greaves features in the 160-player field, which is competing at Butland's Minehead Resort, with the action getting underway on March the 6th. That's all for now, we'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. Monday evening in the Championship, Middlesbrough secured a 3-1 win at Birmingham City. Matt Targett scored twice for the first time in his career as Borough boosted their automatic promotion hopes. Middlesbrough are 5 points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. Well, England women also play. They take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they opted not to renew his contract. He's not played football since December 2024 after being injured in a serious car accident. Meanwhile, Chelsea manager Liam Rossini has said that Cole Palmer is absolutely fine. That was after fears that he'd suffered an injury in the Blues' defeat against Arsenal on Tuesday. In rugby union, Wales fly half Sam Costello has been ruled out of the Six Nations game versus Ireland on Friday due to an ankle injury. While in the domestic game, Bristol Bears have signed back row forward Ethan Stadden from rivals Bath for the 2026-2027 season. In boxing, Richard Riakporhe will fight Jimmy TKV for the British heavyweight title. That's going to be on the Tyson Fury comeback undercard on April the 11th. Well, finally in darts, Bo Greaves has been drawn against Daryl Pilgrim in the opening round of the UK Open. Luke Littler returns as defending champion. Greaves features in the 160-player field, which is competing at Butland's Minehead Resort, with the action getting underway on March the 6th. That's all for now, we'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. Monday evening in the Championship, Middlesbrough secured a 3-1 win at Birmingham City. Matt Targett scored twice for the first time in his career as Borough boosted their automatic promotion hopes. Middlesbrough are 5 points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. Well, England women also play. They take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they opted not to renew his contract. He's not played football since December 2024 after being injured in a serious car accident. Meanwhile, Chelsea manager Liam Rossini has said that Cole Palmer is absolutely fine. That was after fears that he'd suffered an injury in the Blues' defeat against Arsenal on Tuesday. In rugby union, Wales fly half Sam Costello has been ruled out of the Six Nations game versus Ireland on Friday due to an ankle injury. While in the domestic game, Bristol Bears have signed back row forward Ethan Stadden from rivals Bath for the 2026-2027 season. In boxing, Richard Paul will fight Jimmy TKV for the British heavyweight title. That's going to be on the Tyson Fury comeback undercard on April the 11th. Well, finally in darts, Bo Greaves has been drawn against Daryl Pilgrim in the opening round of the UK Open. Luke Littler returns as defending champion. Greaves features in the 160 player field which is competing at Butland's Minehead Resort, with the action getting underway on March the 6th. That's all for now, we'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. On Monday evening in the Championship, Middlesbrough secured a 3-1 win at Birmingham City. Matt Targett scored twice for the first time in his career as Borough boosted their automatic promotion hopes. Middlesbrough are 5 points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. While England women also play, they take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they opted not to renew his contract. He's not played football since December 2024 after being injured in a serious car accident. Meanwhile, Chelsea manager Liam Rossini has said that Cole Palmer is absolutely fine. That was after fears that he'd suffered an injury in the Blues' defeat against Arsenal on Tuesday. In rugby union, Wales fly half Sam Costello has been ruled out of the Six Nations game versus Ireland on Friday due to an ankle injury. While in the domestic game, Bristol Bears have signed back row forward Ethan Stadden from rivals Bath for the 2026-2027 season. In boxing, Richard Paul will fight Jimmy TKV for the British heavyweight title. That's going to be on the Tyson Fury comeback undercard on April the 11th. Well, finally in darts, Bo Greaves has been drawn against Daryl Pilgrim in the opening round of the UK Open. Luke Littler returns as defending champion. Greaves features in the 160 player field which is competing at Butland's Minehead Resort, with the action getting underway on March the 6th. That's all for now, we'll have more later. Latest sports news on Tuesday. I'm Aidan Perkins. We'll start with football. On Monday evening in the Championship, Middlesbrough secured a 3-1 win at Birmingham City. Matt Targett scored twice for the first time in his career as Borough boosted their automatic promotion hopes. Middlesbrough are 5 points behind leaders Coventry, Borough in second. Meanwhile, for Birmingham, it was a bit of a missed opportunity as they look to try and get in the playoff places this season. Blues are 12th, 8 points outside the top 6. It's a busy night on Tuesday night in the Premier League. 4 matches. Bournemouth host Brentford, Everton, Burnley and Leeds Sunderland. Those 3 games kick off at 7:30, while Wolves entertain Liverpool at 8:15. There is also one rearranged FA Cup 4th round tie between Port Vale and Bristol City. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off, while in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United host St Mirren. In the Championship, Ipswich entertain Hull City. There's 3 games in League 1, 5 in League 2. While England women also play, they take on Ukraine in a Women's World Cup qualifier. One piece of transfer news: former West Ham striker Mikel Antonio has joined Qatari club AILFC, making the move since undergoing surgery following a serious car accident. The 35-year-old left West Ham in August after they
this match. And Paul, Brentford obviously coming off that great win away at Burnley. Can they go again just a few days later?
Well, it was a great win, although it didn't come without its problems for Brentford to be 3-0 up away to Burnley and actually to be pegged back to 3-3, to go 4-3 down and then be pegged back to 4-4 before VAR stepped in twice. It did give, I think it was a little bit of a shock to Brentford just how easily that 3-0 lead was eroded away. So that does give them a little bit of food for thought in terms of defence. But they're up against the Bournemouth side who traditionally they do well against.
Yeah, that's right. 7 times they've played each other in the Premier League era, these two sides. And Bournemouth have got 2 draws but 5 defeats, never beaten the Bees. There's a good header from Thiago, now sends the ball towards Shadow. Now he slips it to the striker who goes into the penalty area, turns away from goal, then tries to check back and gets a decent ball into the 6-yard box. It's scrambled away by Hill and then headed clear by Christie. One of the changes that Andonite Areola's made to freshen his side up. He plays a lovely ball over the top here, looking for the run over the left-hand side, but it's actually a little bit behind Tavernier, and so picked up by Coyote. Frantic start to the game with Bournemouth sending it back now to their goalkeeper. Brentford sending it back to their goalkeeper, Kelleher. He's back in the side today, as it's then headed down by Evan Nilsson, laid back to Henderson, whose ball is played forward. That's a nice pass to Igor Thiago, and now Henderson again. He's going to find Damsgaard out on the right hand side. He looks up, tries to slide the ball through for the run of Ouattara, but it's cleared away by the Bournemouth midfield, and then Evan Nilsson collects deep in his own half. He has to send it back before eventually it's passed forward to Tavernier. Tavernier wriggles away from Coyote before another interception there by Henderson, who's of course back in the starting 11, rested I think really more than anything at Turf Moor, and he's already heavily involved. There's a player down for Bournemouth. It's Tavernier, just incidental contact I think, so the ball's been put out of play so we can receive some treatment.
Yeah, Henderson wasn't too happy with Coyote for putting the ball out. I think Henderson was saying, well, Tavernier's off the field so we can carry on playing, but Coyote just spotted Tavernier literally lying down in front of him, so he figured that he would just he's rolled his right ankle there, Tavernier, as he was trying to move after that ball, and you can just tell he's still trying to take a bit of a gentle step on it, but he takes a throw on himself. Yeah,
he throws it back to Brentford, and we're back where we started from. The 2 central defenders, Collins and Vandenberg, play it back to Kelleher, and now it's booted long in the Bournemouth half, flicked on nicely by Sharda. He tries to run after his own flick on there, but there's pace from Jimenez, who knocks it back to the goalkeeper, and he boots it out of play. That's Georgi Petrovic. So very fast start to the game.
Fast start to the game. Brentford are trying to get on the front foot. You could just see Bournemouth just sat back trying to absorb this pressure early on, but both sides have got pace, so either team loses possession, there can always be a quick ball out as well.
It's going to be a long throw here, so Coyote's come across to take it from over on the left-hand side. He's just wiping the ball down on his pale blue kit, pale blue with sort of maroon and pink trim. That's the Brentford away strip tonight. Launched into the box and headed away by the Bournemouth defence, and Hill comes back to the edge of the box. Damsgaard now finds Henry. Henry gets it out of a tight area, plays it back to Coyote. Further down the line, but it's intercepted by Jimenez, but he falls in a heap and he was being shoved from behind. So the referee has given Bournemouth the free kick. Andonite Areola in his pre-match press conference was trying to address some of the issues of the day, one of them being the scrums at the set pieces that we see now, particularly corners, and saying that it's something that the goalkeepers just have to get used to and deal with. Will we see Brentford trying that tonight to put some pressure on Petrovic?
I think something we were saying off air before the game, that the idea of there being pushing and shoving and trying to get players out of the way at a set piece is nothing new. It may well be that over the last few months it's become a little bit more exaggerated, and we see referees going into the box all the time telling players not to push and shove, and they turn around and do exactly the same thing immediately anyway.
Yeah, long ball forward from Bournemouth is straight into Kelleher's hands, and he just collects on the edge of his 6-yard box. I think looking at the 2 keepers tonight, I think both could be susceptible to bodies around them in the penalty area. Kelleher, he's a big lad, but I've seen him struggle with punches in the past.
Absolutely. I think both of these goalkeepers you would say that they're better shot stoppers than they are at taking crosses. That's for sure. And both of them are decent with their feet as well, which of course is expected of modern goalkeepers these days.
Into the feet of Jensen, who sends a left-footed pass straight out of play under pressure. Goes over the head of Keith Andrews, who, like I say, he's got this new contract. Real vote of confidence from the the Brentford hierarchy there. They chose the right man in the summer. The set-piece coach who's made good.
Yeah, I mean, he was speaking about that himself in his pre-match press conferences, that if he was living back home in Dublin and he heard that Brentford had lost their long-term manager and appointed a set-piece coach, he'd be saying, well, that's a bit of a risky decision. He understands that it came across as a very risky decision, but he says that he was delighted to get the chance, and so far so good, you have to say.
Yeah, a lot of people tipping him maybe for manager of the year. And certainly with a budget he's had to work with, and I say that. I mean, they signed Dango Ouattara for £40-odd million, but there were a lot of departures, weren't there, in the summer? Obviously, some very big departures. Here's a long throw into the Brentford box, which is powerfully headed away by Henderson, back out towards midfield, and Jimenez lays a nice pass out to the right-hand side. It's played back to the feet of Hill, who just can't quite carry it forward, and it goes out for a throw-in, deflected out for a throw-in to Bournemouth. They're going to have to take it from close to the halfway line.
Yeah, well, that's also becoming something the referees are getting hotter on as well, because now obviously there are long throw specialists at almost every team. Where the throw-on is taken from actually becomes a lot more significant now.
Ball forward here from Bournemouth. It was Senesi's pass, which goes straight through to goalkeeper Kelleher, and he just picks it up near his penalty spot, rolls it out to Collins. Collins right-footed, long ball forward again, looking for Igor Thiago. He brings this one down on his chest, but Adams is there to snap a clearance in. It falls to Coyote, gets a shove from behind from Tavernier, and it's a pretty clear push, so it's going to be a free kick to Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, the referee's just basically done an imitation of what Tavernier did. The fact that Tavernier's got his head in his hands, I mean, you know, I suppose he would argue that there wasn't enough of a push for Coyote to fall over like that, but players have learned to sort of show the referee the contact, because otherwise they don't get the free kick.
Collins again from the back. They build with a ball up towards Thiago. He's beaten in the air by Senesi, collected by Tavernier. Seems to be okay after the early knock, but he's been tackled in midfield by Damsgaard. Now Thiago trying to play playmaker here, trying to thread one through to Sharda, but it's picked off by Truffert. Back to Petrovic it goes. He clears long. Not a great deal of long passing moves in this game so far. It's all one team has it, plays it forward, loses it. The next team has their opportunity. It's Brentford's chance to get some passes strung together now with Henry, the left back, in a tight area. Gets past Ryan, but then is forced out for a throw-in. And I think that throw-in's gone Bournemouth's way, actually. So Ryan did his job there, the former Vasco da Gama forward, and there's a foul throw now from Adams. Well, how's he got away with that? He basically, the ball slipped out of his hand as he was throwing it, and then he caught it, and the referee said, that's fine, just take it again.
Well, I mean, I would say that the ball definitely went behind his head, so to me it looked like he had taken a throw, just not completed it, so that really should have been back to Brentford.
Yeah, very, I don't know, just letting the game flow there, the referee. Anyway, a long ball forward has almost caught Senesi out there, because Petrovic was not coming for that. Senesi, I think, expected him to, and he's had to boot it out for a throw-in, so both teams playing a game of territory rather than possession at the moment. It's Brentford who have it inside the Bournemouth half. Henderson knocks it back to Collins. And now to Henry. Press here from Scott. But Henderson, one of a number of ex-Liverpool players in the Brentford side. I think probably 3 or 4 is there tonight, with Vandenberg, Kelleher, Henderson. That might be it. Maybe there's somebody on the bench. Long clearance from Kelleher is flicked on by Damsgaard towards Thiago. Nice layoff from him, but snapping into the challenge was Jimenez, who carries it forward now. Jimenez to the edge of the penalty area, lays it off to Ryan on the right-hand side. Ryan checks back onto his left foot. Waits for Jimenez to offer him an option wide, which he has done now, but he's ignored him and gone backwards here. Adams tucks it back to Hill. And now Bournemouth's move it across from right to left with Truffert. Christie, back to Truffert. Brentford trying to press Bournemouth back into their own half, which they've kind of done here as the pass goes back to Hill. 10 minutes gone at the Vitality Stadium. Still goalless, and we get to see a chance from either team as yet. Christie still in possession. That's attempted threaded balls picked off by Ouattara. And now Jensen in midfield. Tries to play it back to the ex-Bournemouth man. It's a great bit of control. I thought it was, but actually just got past him and out for a throw-in. I dare say there'll be a few Bournemouth fans jeering Dango Ouattara tonight, but he did fetch him a lot of money.
He did. I think that it got to the stage where the amount of money that Brentford were prepared to pay was just an amount that Bournemouth couldn't turn down. And I'll break off now, actually, because here comes Brentford.
Yeah, a lovely ball towards Damsgaard. It was Sharda who tried to thread him through, but the cover came across from Jimenez and he knocks it out for a throw. But it's definitely Brentford who are playing the more inventive football on the edge of the Bournemouth box at the moment.
Yeah, they just seem to have settled into possession a little bit quicker than Bournemouth. In fairness, Bournemouth are absorbing all of it. There's only been a couple of occasions where Brentford have actually got close to the penalty area, but now they've got a really good chance here with a long throw from Coyote.
Yep, it's going to be right next to the corner flag, so we'll be coming in at an angle similar to that of a corner. And Henderson's gone up there. Igor Thiago's there, lurking as well. Coyote with the long throw, then sends it in towards the near post. Oh, it's poor. It doesn't beat the first man, although that's not a great clearance from Christie. It's gone straight up in the air. It's then been overhead kicked back to the edge of the penalty area before a stabbed attempt from Damsgaard is blocked and cleared.
Well, that was a very uncharacteristic throw from Coyote. Normally he launches them into the middle of the box, and that one barely even got towards the edge of the 6-yard box on the near post side, so it was disappointing from him. And then that's, as you say, that hoof up in the air from Christie very nearly caused Bournemouth problems as well.
Truffert gets the ball out to Tavernier and then receives it back again. Brentford just dropping back now, not pressing here as Truffert carries it into the Bees half. And now slides it into the feet of Adams, onto Tavernier, just tucked in from the left-hand side. Tavernier with a cross towards the back post, headed away by Henry, drops on the edge, and Adams challenges for the next ball. Then Scott wins the next header, away by Vandenberg, and then Jensen, this peculiar header which put Henderson under pressure, but he manages to boot it up in the air. And there's a lot of pressure being put on both teams at the moment, as this one is sent long forward by Hill. That's not a bad ball actually, because it's being kept in by the corner flag by Tavernier. He's going to try and roll Coyote. Coyote very tight to him though, touch tight as he plays it back now to Truffert. His pass intercepted by Ouattara, and he's in trouble now, Truffert, because Ouattara's got pace. He's running at Senesi with Christie trying to get back, and Senesi just body checks him there. That should be a free kick to Brentford, but the referee says no.
No, the referee says no. He obviously felt that Dango Ouattara was looking for the free kick, which he might have been, but in that situation with the attacking player in possession and a body check from the defender, that almost always does go in favour of the attacking side.
Yeah, you think, does the defender want to run back 50 yards there with Ouattara? No, clearly he was happy to bring him down. At the other end, Ryan with a cross into the penalty area is too close to Kelleher, and Kelleher just picks it out of the air and looks for his options. But I'm surprised that the referee let that one go. He's let a couple of decisions go now where I'm thinking, is he just in that kind of mood tonight?
Well, I've been thinking for a while now that it does seem to be the refereeing goes in sort of fashions where it's almost like they have a WhatsApp group telling them this is what we're going to be focusing on now. Don't allow these, let the game flow. And you can almost see that with week by week, certain offences just seem to be very sort of, they jump on every single one of those, but then other ones they just seem to let go.
Yep. Well, the ball's gone out of play for a throw in now, as we see the benches, and Keith Andrews on his feet, as is Andalai Iraola. He wants Jimenez to lob this one down the line. Jimenez just catching his breath here. It's been such a frantic start to the game. As he, again, that was
a foul throw as well.
Yeah, we're seeing some throw-ins. I think they're struggling because the ball's greasy and they're really struggling to grip it. But as he threw it in towards Evan Ilson's then committed a foul, and it's a free kick to Brentford just inside the Bournemouth half.
Yes, a chance now to get the ball. It looks like Brentford are going to try and get this ball close to the penalty area. Iraola there's not happy with that one. I don't know whether he was unhappy with his side giving away the free kick, or indeed he was unhappy with the referee for the decision in the first. But just to say as well, we've got two other games on our service right now. It's Everton against Burnley and Leeds against Sunderland. They're both goalless, and still to come at 8:15, it's Wolves against Liverpool.
So free kick Brentford, which hasn't yet been taken. They're just getting everybody assembled in their positions. Damsgaard is going to leave it, and then a bit of skill from Jensen, who carries it forward to the edge of the box. Jensen chips into the back post, headed away by Scott. As Collins was lurking behind him, he perhaps didn't know exactly where Collins was, so he took the safe option there, Scott, and just headed it away for the throw. Alex Scott, the England World Cup hopeful. He's been around that squad, hasn't he? But of course, Thomas Tuchel will be really hardening his selections now for the summer. And these next couple of well, it might be in the next week. I think he names his squad for the March internationals. A long throw into the box is headed away by Bournemouth, and Scott, as he was fastening onto it, referees pulled it back for a foul in there on Senesi. So yeah, Craig Pawson looks like he's just a little bit. Well, the thing he's focusing on tonight is pushing at throw-ins and corners, and everything else he's going to let go.
It looks like it for the time being, doesn't it? That he seems to be very hot on that, and he's allowing a lot of sort of midfield contact where referees normally probably would give a free kick for that, but the game's still being played at a very fast pace.
Yeah, as Brentford have it back inside their own half now. Henry, though, tackled back by Ryan. Ryan plays it into the feet of Evan Nilsson, who now holds it up and lays it off for Christie. Christie tries to slide one through there, but Tavernier wasn't on the same wavelength. That allows Coyote to get back and wriggle away now from the Scotsman before he clears down the line to Ouattara, who just about controls it, then goes back to where it originally came from. Coyote then nutmegs Evan Nilsson. That was good. And escapes the pressure, plays it square to Collins. Collins, still inside his own box, manages to chip a pass out to the right. Ouattara, again under pressure from Truffert, who quickly closes him down. Knocks it back to Coyote. Launched down the line. Flicked on by Damsgaard. It's a nice touch from Igor Thiago, and he's got the pace to get away from Tyler Adams as well. Now he waits, slides it back towards Damsgaard, the Dane. 25 yards out on his left foot, tries to just poke it through towards Sharda. It comes back from a Bournemouth defender, and they've got it again here, left-hand side. Ouattara chops back onto his left foot, goes back onto his right. Then a attempted side foot pass into the middle is cut out by Truffert, out for a throw.
Yes, it took a little while there, but Brentford finally did get the ball towards the edge of the area. Bournemouth doing well, though, in terms of just keeping that ball outside the box. But now we've got another chance to see if Coyote can improve from the last long throw.
Yeah, he's not got a towel still, has he? He's just wiping it down on a shirt. Maybe these shirts aren't very good for wiping the balls down. Maybe they don't take much moisture off it.
Well, I suppose that the idea is that they're supposed to stop players from sweating too much, so maybe but here comes the throw anyway.
Yeah, it's a better one from him this time. It still doesn't quite reach the first Brentford player. It's knocked away by Bournemouth. Then a foul on Evan Nilsson gives the home side a free kick. I think Brentford playing the better football and asking more questions in this game. You know, there's been a few passes that have just not quite been there, but they've really been around the edge of the penalty area trying to thread it through, haven't they?
Yes, they have, absolutely. I think Bournemouth just given the ball away as well.
Yeah, and there's another chance for Damsgaard. He does find Sharda this time. Sharda then sideways to Ouattara, 25 yards out. Bournemouth defenders all holding position inside the box. Ouattara's crossed towards the back post, trying to pick out Damsgaard, who'd lurked in there again, but it's knocked away by Ryan. As far as Vandenberg. Now Henderson. Henderson feeds it back to the right for Ouattara. Pressed by Truffert. Truffert gets a foot in, finds Scott, but a good back tackle there from Jensen in midfield. Comes back to Truffert. Then Adams sideways to Christie. On to Tavernier. This is a decent spell of short passing now from Bournemouth. But it's just sideways and backwards, sideways and backwards. They're not looking for that killer ball that Brentford have been searching for. There's a pass through the lines which reaches Scott. He tries to backheel it through the legs of Vandenberg, but then can't gather his own flick. So Jensen has possession again. Brentford just playing it between the two central defenders now, before Henderson points for it to go back to Kelleher. And still haven't had a goal in these three 7:30 Premier League games tonight. All the games on Sunday finished 2-1, didn't they? I think they were all 2-1 to the home team as well, which is 4 games all finishing with the same score. Ball over the top here, looking for the run of Henry. Henry suddenly got past Jimenez. He's really going well before Jimenez's recovery pace just gets his body back, and he celebrates with a crowd there for a bit of defensive cover there that put it out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm not a fan of turning to the crowd and celebrating like you've scored a winning goal when you basically blocked a ball into the box in the 18th, 19th minute, but I suppose that's the sort of game we have now, and it was actually some decent defending there from Jimenez. That's a replay we're just seeing now. He gets tangled here with Rico Henry, and I'm not quite sure. I think he's just felt a hamstring go there as he's gone for that one, Rico Henry.
Yeah, I think that's probably how Jimenez was able to do. So basically Jimenez has celebrated what a great bit of defending, and he's got to turn around and realise that the only reason why he's got there is because Henry's done his hamstring. Yeah,
well, Aaron Hickey's out for another month here with another injury. He's had a couple of problems. Obviously he missed nearly 2 years of football with an injury. Rico Henry himself missed an entire season, so there'll be a worry about him. We can already see that there's a player warming up for Brentford in Christopher Ayer. Keane Lewis Potter has played in that left-back role for Brentford as well, but it's not looking good here for Rico Henry right now.
No, I think with his injury record, you'd probably want to err on the side of caution with him, wouldn't you? So I would think that substitution will be made. So James Hill has just stayed to sort of hear what the verdict is, and has shaken Henry's hand as he limps back to his feet. So yeah, Christopher Ajer, I think, will be the choice. He's not really a left back by trade, is he? But he'll offer some qualities in that position. He's good on the ball, and he's got the height as well, hasn't he? So maybe they'll try a different way of attacking down that side now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's only just been sort of dropped out of the team, Christopher Ajer. He has been a regular starter over the last few weeks, where he's played ahead of Nathan Collins at centre back. It was Ajer and Vandenberg that had formed that duo in the middle of defence for a few weeks, but now it looks like we are going to see Christopher Ajer playing in the left back role.
Yeah, so Norwegian just tying his laces up. He's on the pitch already, so he's come on before he's even got his laces done up. But he'll be playing left backs, like for like change. Poor old Rico Henry has to go off some treatment now. Anyway, we've restarted with the goal kick, taken short by Bournemouth and then pumped long. And that is another waste of possession from the home side. I don't think their fans will be getting on the backs just yet, but this has been a fairly mundane opening 20 minutes from the home side. Henderson plays it out towards Ouattara, then looks for a return pass, but Christie got back in there. Henderson's just snaked a leg round and caught Christie, so the referee's given a free kick. Although, judging by the words that Henderson said there to the referee, he can't believe the decision. And you know what, neither can I, because it's not a foul.
No,
actually, yeah, there is a little bit.
He's trodden on him there. I don't think there was any intent, but he has actually caught Ryan Christie there.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You see it from the first angle, you're thinking the referee's got that wrong. You see it from the second angle, you can see why he gives the decision. And we're back underway. Anyway, free kick taken by Bournemouth, played forward, looking for the run of Evan Nilsson. Evan Nilsson's got him behind here. Henderson was dawdling. Vandenberg was dawdling, and in the end, it's out off Evan Nilsson for a goal kick. But he just managed to sneak in behind the Brentford defence there, did Evan Nilsson. The Brazilian didn't give up that lost cause, and if he'd had a better first touch, he might have had a chance to force a cross in there.
Vandenberg was just too close to him, so it's almost like he was just a little bit distracted for that split second. The ball just bounced off his chest, and then after that, it was just getting too far away from him.
Yeah, there were some doubts whether Evan Nilsson would play tonight. He was substituted at the weekend, came on as a sub at half-time, and then scored, and then was taken off with a few minutes to go after feeling some muscle pain. I think Iraola in his pre-match press conference said he was hopeful he'd play, but he couldn't guarantee it. Well, he has started the game, but whether he'll be able to last the full 90 minutes, I think that might be in doubt as the ball comes off Jimenez now, and he plays the next pass forward straight to Jensen, and then Henderson sideways to Vandenberg. Bournemouth trying to press now through Christie, but Henderson plays it square to Collins. Gets it back again, checks his shoulder, then plays it into the feet of Jensen. Jensen, risky ball, it's given it away there. Could be a chance here for Evan Nilsson, who lays it off now to Tavernier. Shooting opportunity for Tavernier, chops back into his right. Now he strikes a goal, it's just wide of the far post. But that all came from Jensen panicking when Bournemouth put the press on there. And eventually, Tavernier's had a shot just wide.
He has, but it's not good from Jensen at all, as you say. Trying to play a square ball inside his own half, hitting his own teammate. And then from there, Bournemouth get a great chance. And for all the Brentford possession and attempts to try and get forward, that's probably the closest we've been to a goal with that effort there from Tavernier.
Yeah, Tavernier tried to just curl it round Kevin Keller into the far corner, and he just put it maybe 2 yards wide of the far post. There was some curl on the ball, but it wouldn't come back enough. Applauded by Iraola, and again, it's Brentford passing short from the back. We've played 23.5 minutes of this Premier League contest. It is still goalless. Take you through to half-time. Paul Shabakovitz.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, and it's a ball down the right-hand side here as Brentford try and push forward, but Dangarotara blocked it by Truffert. It's back into the middle of the park here as Damsgaard just gets that ball ahead of Truffert. Then it's a quick ball down the right-hand side for Igor Thiago to chase. Senesi cuts it out, but he only stops it, actually leaves it for Igor Thiago at the edge of the area, sets it up for Jensen, who goes for goal, but that one is charged down by James Hill, back towards the halfway line where it's hit up in the air by Nathan Collins. Thiago was still coming back from an offside position. Ball now back with Bournemouth here. That's lovely control from Evan Nilsson before he just gets bumped off the ball. He was fouled, but referee plays an advantage as it's out towards the left-hand side for Tavernier. Just holds it up, goes back towards Truffert. Now it's with Tyler Adams playing it back to James Hill. He tries a long diagonal. We've had a couple of these good balls already. Well, that's a really good ball to pick out Ryan on the right-hand side, but he miscontrolled that. I mean, he could chase after it now, but the fact is that he had enough time to keep that ball in play, and he just made a mess of it.
Yeah, it's a shame for Ryan. He's had a couple of good balls, but he miscontrolled that. I mean, he could chase after it now, but the fact is that he had enough time to keep that ball in play, and he just made a mess of it. Yeah, it's a shame for Ryan. He's had a couple of good balls, but he miscontrolled that. I mean, he could chase after it now, but the fact is that he had enough time to keep that ball in play, and he just made a mess of it. Yeah, it's a shame for Ryan. He's You know, he's
It's
just
quite a raw talent still, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got his head up there looking for who's up with him and who he can put the cross into, and then just miscontrols it by the touchline there. So anyway, but yeah, he's really impressed me in this game so far. I think he's probably not the best defender, but what he's done on the ball has been really impressive in trying to set up these counter-attacks. Yeah,
it may well be that he has the sort of the control of a midfielder, but then the build of a defender. So he's sort of always been kept at centre back. But yeah, he's got some decent distribution. Seen a couple of good balls from him already. As Igor Thiago a little bit unhappy there with Tavernier. Brentford take the throw on quickly anyway. Coyote finding Jensen, who's over the halfway line now, just been tracked here by Alex Scott. Goes back over towards the right-hand side. It's a diagonal ball, which was probably just a little bit too quick there for Dango Otara. And he was just probably a little bit slow to try and react to it as well.
Yeah. I think Hill's an interesting one because, some foul there by Igor Thiago on Senesi. Flag goes up against the Brazilian who thinks it was a bit soft. But yeah, he's got some big shoes to fill, hasn't he, Hill? Because he's obviously following on from some very good centre-backs who played for Bournemouth in the years. Ilya Zabani now at PSG.
Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, Dean Huijsen now at Real Madrid, and Lloyd Kelly now at Juventus, and as you say, Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, well, as I say, based on that list, I suppose Mings probably still comes bottom of those four gentlemen, doesn't he? But yeah, the Lloyd Kelly one to Juventus was a mad transfer when that one happened, wasn't it? But he'll break off from that because now it's a great run down the right-hand side from Jimenez, and then he almost gets down to his knees in frustration with his own teammate because Alex Scott just didn't read what he wanted him to do there.
Yeah, just a few miscommunications going on. I mean, they're putting a lot of effort into this, Bournemouth, but there's just not really much production coming from them at all, really. Apart from those long balls from Hill that have got them on the back foot, Brentford. Really, the short passing has been, a little bit sort of passive, and then there's just no sort of invention around the edge of the box here.
No, but it just, I think from Andoni Iraiola's point of view, what he'd be wanting his side to do is just try and have a bit more of a presence in the final third. Right now, Bournemouth are almost playing like the away team where they're trying to hit Brentford on the counter. And if they can step up in midfield and actually start to put some real pressure on, we know that Brentford have always got a goal to concede in them, that's for sure. Long clearance here, though, from Petrovic over the halfway line. Nodded forward there by Ryan, but there was nobody behind him in a Bournemouth shirt, so that one goes straight through towards Kelleher. We had a very high-scoring weekend. The Saturday's games were crazy, weren't they? Sort of 5, 6, 7 goals in all of them. And so far, after nearly half an hour of football this evening, we've not had a goal anywhere. Still goalless at Hill Dickinson between Everton and Burnley. Still goalless at Ellen Road between Leeds and Sunderland. You've got to say, those two sides, probably when they looked at this fixture at the start of the season, they probably thought it was going to be a relegation 6-pointer. Whereas I suppose Leeds are still there or thereabouts, but there are sides that are in a lot more trouble than them. And of course, Sunderland have done superbly well. Yeah,
I think Leeds will be okay. The way they played against Manchester City in the first half of the weekend suggests that that they should get enough points to avoid the drop. And I think Sunderland already have got enough points, haven't they?
Yeah, they've already hit the magic 40, absolutely. And there was interesting actually talk that there was a Sunderland fan who at the very start of the season, I think he's got £1,000 on Sunderland to finish in the top 10, but he got really high odds when Sunderland were just promoted, so nobody even expected them to get anywhere near the top 10. And now he must be getting a little bit nervous because, of course, they've just fallen out of the top 10 again, but still in with a decent shout for that as Vandenberg now lays it back towards Kelleher. Long clearance. That's an interesting flick there from Thiago. He was just losing his balance. He almost got it through towards Otara. But now Tyler Adams has it here for Bournemouth. Goes out towards Alex Scott. Hasn't really got into the game too much, Alex Scott. But now he tries a diagonal ball to pick out the run. And it was a really good ball as though it needed that intervention from Coyote. Just need Alex Scott on the ball a little bit more. But Coyote tracked that one. He nods it out for a corner.
Yeah, it was just sort of floated towards the back post area. Coyote does defend that area pretty well, though, doesn't he? He's tall and he's got good awareness, and he knew exactly what was behind him there and what needed to be done. Yeah,
absolutely. Kelleher wasn't going to make it out for that one. So now Bournemouth have a corner kick here on the left-hand side, and it's left-footed Scotland international Ryan Christie to take this corner. Maybe a short option here as well, but it looks like he's going to try and outswing this. Plenty of Bournemouth targets inside that penalty area, as we mentioned. Kelleher not the most confident on crosses. It is a short ball in the end. Alex Scott then floats a really high ball out towards the right-hand side of the penalty. It's not the best ball, really, considering that excellent diagonal ball we saw before. But now Tavernier whips in a really dangerous ball, and that was curling all the way. Evan Nielsen with his arms up saying, well, where's our penalty? He felt as though he was being held back. The Bournemouth bench are up in arms as well. We'll have to see the replay for this one.
Yeah, I mean, the defender got caught there, didn't he? It's is it Vandenberg or possibly offside as well? Oh, I don't know actually.
I think Evan Nilsson's okay. I don't think there's any contact with him there anyway.
Not really, no. He maybe had hold of his hand.
Yeah, well, exactly. But holding Evan Nilsson by the right hand doesn't cause him to fall onto his left side, does it? I mean, he has done that himself. There's no way that the contact with Vandenberg has caused the fall that Evan Nilsson has then perpetuated there. So I think the referee absolutely right to not pay too much attention to that. Brentford in possession inside their own half here. Collins to Ayer. Back to Nathan Collins again. Are you running out of space here now? It's played back to Kelleher, who's pretty much on the goal line when he clears that towards the halfway line. It's flicked on there by he's been missed, and now there's a chance here for Bournemouth as the ball breaks to Ryan, and he was well marshalled there by Ayer. Bit of a body check there from the Norwegian international, but Brentford keep possession here. Ayer going back towards Kelleher. Two Bournemouth players at the edge of the area, but Kelleher still with plenty of time clears this one over the halfway line. It's headed forward by Senesi. Drops to Tyler Adams. It's out towards Jimenez here on the right-hand side. In towards Ryan. He just runs straight into Christopher Ayer, and then Ayer knocks the ball off the Brazilian, so it's going to be a throw to Brentford here on the left-hand side. Well, I suppose the one on Evan Nilsson a couple of minutes earlier, that definitely wasn't a penalty. That probably wasn't either, but there's more contact there from Ayer on Ryan.
It's just good defending, I think, isn't it? Ryan does have a decent position there, but he just allows himself to be sort of eased off the ball by the defender. Shot goes in from just outside the box there from Scott. Sort of shoot on sight policy there. I mean, at least it's something coming from Bournemouth now, but he wasn't closed down quick enough, and he just unleashed with his left foot over the bar.
Well, as I say, he had the freedom of midfield there, didn't he? It was just a throw on to Bournemouth on the right-hand side, a ball into Scott, and then he had all the time he needed to try and measure his shot. In the end, he just lifts it a little bit too high, and it was going down the middle anyway. It wasn't the best shot from Scott, but it was a bit of a sighter for him. As I say, they haven't seen too much of him in the first half an hour. He needs to get into the game a little bit more. I always think that it's an indicator of how well of a central midfielder is playing. If you don't really notice him, regardless of how well his side is playing, I always think that it's a bad side. That's a bad challenge there from Tyler Adams. And the Bournemouth players and the Bournemouth bench are furious as to why the referees even stopped play. Tyler Adams is wagging his finger saying, no way. I mean, the lunge from Alex Scott wasn't brilliant.
No.
But then when Adams comes in here, I mean, in fairness to him, he does actually get the ball, but it's the way he carries out the challenge that I just think, the reaction from the Bournemouth bench, they're always going to back their player, but you can't do that these days.
No, I think it's a foul. I think the referee's probably got it right in that it's just a foul and not a yellow card. He does go in a bit recklessly, but he does get the ball. However, his follow-through does take a little bit. I mean, it's only just a little bit as well of Damsgaard, who seems to be falling down anyway. I think the referee just about gets it right there. Free kick, nothing else.
Yeah, it looked worse live than when we saw the replay. He does get a bit of the man, but there wasn't really any kind of intent there, which it looked initially like there might have been, but it's a long clearance here from that free kick. It ends up with Nathan Collins. He just wanted one touch too many in the box, and Bournemouth clear their lines. We have our first goal of the evening. It's come at Hill Dickinson Stadium, where Everton lead against Burnley. It's the former Burnley man, James Tarkowski, with the goal there.
Former Brentford man.
Former Brentford man as well, that's right, absolutely. Went from Brentford to Burnley and then to Everton. But now Brentford lose possession in midfield. Evan Nilsson with some space down the right to find Ryan. And Ryan is all the way into the penalty area. It's a great run, but it's also good covering there from Jordan Henderson. He waited and waited till he made sure he could get a challenge in, and he puts it out for a corner.
Yeah, what a manager's dream Jordan Henderson is there, because when he saw that developing, Jordan Henderson, he saw Ryan running at Jensen. He thought, I need to get there. I need to fight fires, because Ryan was absolutely doing him like a kipper there. Jensen was twisted this way and that. Ryan was going to beat him before Henderson came in and just put it behind for the corner.
Corner kick it is then. James Tavernier is Marcus Tavernier, beg your pardon, is standing over this one. Takes it short, and then it's whipped in by Scott into the 6-yard box, and Hill's got to do better there. Once he gets into that position, there was a Brentford defender just in front of him, but he's got to do better there, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't score many goals, does he? And when you see a header like that, you can see why. It's a great delivery, fantastic quality from Scott. I mean, he's produced a couple of these tonight. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Scott, was it? It was Christie, wasn't it?
Christie, but it's a poor head. I mean, Hill's actually hit that with the top of his head. He's not hit it with his forehead at all. If he just, he's a tall player, and actually Iraiola's doing a little mimic of what he should have done. Just said, nod it down, rather than sort of trying to hit it. It always looks easier when you're stood on the touchline, of course. But Hill, I think, has got to do better there. I think he would he'd be the first one to admit that, as the ball now down the left-hand side just gets away from Igor Thiago. And it's that man, James Hill, with the challenge. Keith Andrews barking out instructions as always. Say whether or not the players. I always wonder how much of the players actually take into that when the manager's trying to get those messages across, especially if they're 100 yards away from him. But it's going to be Coyote now trying to launch this ball as 5 minutes. It's a long way from the penalty area. His throw-ons haven't actually been that good this evening. As I mentioned, it may be an issue. There aren't any towels here at the Vitality, but takes a short throw this time to Damsgaard. He gets it back on the left-hand side, plays it in towards Henderson. Henderson then back to Jensen. He's a long way from goal, and then Jensen all the way back into his own half.
That was the problem. Once he took the short one there, they were set up for the long throw, so once he took the short one, the cross still had to come in pretty early there to make use of the defenders who'd been sent forward. And then once the cross didn't come in and they got into a position where they couldn't put the cross in, then those defenders have to come back and you have to pass the ball back, and all your advantage that you gained from winning the long throw and opportunity is gone.
It's gone, and also you're putting yourself under additional pressure because, as I say, there's only a few people back on the halfway line, and if you lose possession, then there's not enough people covering. But Bournemouth now down the right-hand side here with Jimenez, back into towards Tyler Adams, just on the halfway line. Now it's with Alex Scott, back to Adams, being closed down here by Damsgaard. James Hill now for Bournemouth. Stepping forward here, a couple of Brentford players closing him down, but Hill just going square to Tyler Adams, who dropped a little bit deeper, and the Cherries keep the ball moving here down the right-hand side. Adams being followed all the way here by Damsgaard. Just going square towards Senesi over the halfway line. Looking for options left and right, just gets it short into Christie. The referee almost gets in the way, but Christie carries on his run. It's a decent run as well, just gets stopped at the edge of the D for a sort of rushed clearance there from Jensen. Goes straight to Jimenez, about 30 yards out. He then finds Ryan on the right-hand side, back to Jimenez. Ryan again, in towards Christie. Christie into Evan Nielsen, back into Christie. Oh, great link-up play. It must be for Bournemouth. Oh, it's gone wide. That has to be 1-0 to Bournemouth. I mean, it deserved a goal. The link-up play just at the edge of the area was superb. They tried 2 or 3 times to get in the box. They couldn't quite manage it, and somehow Christie's not scored.
Yeah, it's a double 1-2 from Christie, isn't it? He plays a 1-2 with Ryan, then a 1-2 with Evan Nielsen. The pass back from the Brazilian is so good. He takes it in his stride. He's got time to measure his shot, and then he tries to take it around the goalkeeper from an impossible angle and runs out of grass. But really, the shot was on there for him with his second touch, not trying to take it past the goalkeeper and then squeeze it in from a tight angle.
He's a left footer. He's got the ball in front of him and he's 5 yards out. Just open your body up and ping it into the top corner. I mean, again, it's easy for me to say that sat in a studio, but just where Christie was, it just seemed like it was inviting him to do that. And
yeah, I mean, even if it's saved, the rebound probably falls within the 6-yard area with a teammate nearby. If he goes on the outside to try and cut it back there, the angle's totally against him. It probably wouldn't have even gone back into the goal.
No, absolutely. I mean, he was effectively trying to find himself more space and time when he was already inside the 6-yard box, and him and the ball were moving at pace. So there just wasn't enough time to get that ball back. But Brentford responding now with Vandenberg, a long ball from him in towards Igor Thiago. The touch onto Schade was overhit. No chance for Brentford's number 7 to get on the end of that one. Out for a goal kick to Bournemouth.
It was a bit more like Igor Trampoline, not Igor Thiago. That wasn't it? That was a pretty poor touch from the Brazilian. But I think I've been generally impressed with his play in this game. You know, he is doing a good job up there for his team. Just on that occasion, it got away from him.
It did, but Brentford just need to try and get back to the sort of mindset they had earlier in the game, because Bournemouth have certainly woken up compared to the first 15 minutes. That's a really poor back heel there from Igor Thiago. Wasted the pass that he got from Coyote, and now Coyote has left a big gap on that left-hand side as Bournemouth look, and credit to Thiago because he's come back and filled in for his teammate there and won the ball back as well.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, isn't it? Okay, the back heel didn't come off, but he didn't just stand there and throw his arms or anything like that. He went straight back and helped his team out win it back.
Here's Jordan Henderson now out towards the right-hand side. Little nutmeg pass there from Dango Otara in towards Mikhail Damsgaard. That's good covering though from Senesi. He clears that all the way to the halfway line. Brentford back in possession now. Vandenberg being closed down by Evan Nielsen. Still finds a pass out towards Damsgaard on the right-hand side. Henderson back to Damsgaard. Flicked on towards Dango Otara. Good challenge there though from Senesi. Just keeping things in check there for Bournemouth. And now Evan Nielsen spinning away from 2 Brentford players, and he can start a counter-attack. He's got support here from Ryan on the right-hand side. Heading towards the edge of the area. There's support here from Scott as well on the outside. Scott just getting it back onto his left foot, then rolling it back in towards Tyler Adams. Adams back in towards Jimenez. Jimenez's ball though is headed clear by Collins. Back out towards the right-hand side again. Cross coming in from Jimenez. It gets a deflection and Bournemouth have a corner.
Yeah, they're just finally sort of hitting the stride in the game, aren't they? And I think we saw it probably the last 10 minutes has been Bournemouth's best 10 minutes of the game. Brentford having to fight fires a little bit at times, with Henderson helping out, and obviously we just saw Igor Thiago coming back from a centre-forward position there to stop one other attack in transition, and it just feels like that Bournemouth are finishing the half in their strongest sort of form at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. An in-swinging corner now from this right-hand side. 6 Bournemouth players inside the 6-yard box. Another 2 waiting at the edge of the area. Cross comes in. It's pretty much a shot at goal, which is punch clear. I mean, in fairness, he does get some distance on it there, Kelleher, but he never looked all that comfortable. Ball cleared into midfield, where it's Christie now pumping a long ball back into the box. Headed across by Hill, but there is Jensen. He gets ahead to it. Cleared to the edge of the area where Tyler Adams and Truffert exchange passes. It's back out towards Tyler Adams. He didn't want to cross it with his left foot, just holds it up, goes back to Truffert. He didn't want to cross it in either, and it's gone back into midfield now here for Ryan Christie. He then tries the ball into the box, which can easily be left, and it's a waste from Bournemouth in the end.
It is a bit, yeah. Christie's had some good moments tonight, but maybe that miss has just got in his head a little bit, and his following cross there was off target. But yeah, it's been a lively game. There's been talking points in it, but it's just missing that bit of sort of inspirational quality. Well, obviously there was that great moment with the Christie 1-2s, but he didn't finish it off. Other than that, it's been a bit,
yeah,
I think it by, isn't it?
I think both sides would have to say that their final thirds aren't quite clicking it, are they? I think Brentford have probably had more of the ball in the final third, but if anything, they found it quite difficult to get Igor Thiago Schade and Dango Otara all to sing from the same hymn sheet. And at the other end, Bournemouth have had less attacking possession, but have probably done a little bit more with it in terms of the decent half chances they've created. But we've got around 3.5 minutes before we hit injury time, and there'll be a bit of that as well. I'm expecting probably 2 or 3 minutes of added time at the end of this first half, as Aya heads a long ball forward. That one's quickly played forward though by James Hill here for Bournemouth. It's cut out by Collins. Then Aya hooks a long ball up towards Igor Thiago. He loses the battle there with Senesi, and Bournemouth have it back now here with James Hill. Christie just about keeps it in play. It's over towards Jensen now. Back to Henderson. Again, Brentford just getting bogged down inside their own half here a little bit. It's over towards Aya. Playing it back towards Henderson. Henderson towards his goalkeeper. It's Kelleher now out to Vandenberg. There are 2 Bournemouth players tracking him as well. Brentford are getting stuck inside their own half here now as Henderson just lobs the ball out towards the right. Coyote takes it down. He's being well tracked though by Tavernier. And Coyote goes inside now towards Jensen. Back to Henderson now. Over to Damsgaard. Damsgaard's ball to Jensen, but Bournemouth have got plenty of men back in. No easy way through for Brentford. Here is Jensen now trying an early ball into the box. Dango Otara was the intended target, but just a calm pass back there from Truffert out to Petrovic, and then rolls the ball to Tavernier. And Bournemouth now have it back at the edge of their own box here with Truffert. Back to Adams. And that was a long spell of possession there for Brentford, but nothing came of it at all.
No, it's yeah, now it's opening up in transition. That's probably where Bournemouth's strengths have been, and now they're starting to get on top a little bit because the game is getting stretched.
It is getting stretched, and here come the home side again now with Ryan heading towards the edge of the area. Tavernier under pressure there from Coyote, rolls it to Truffert, who arrives inside the penalty area, gets away from Coyote, but there was decent covering there from Dango Otara, and then the pass cut out inside the penalty area there by Henderson. It's back with Dango Otara, and he just but Brentford are just hoofing it away now. Anywhere will do.
Henderson's been great, hasn't he? He's covered every blade of grass at least 5 times already. I just don't know how he can keep this rate up, because he's working so hard for the team. When he's full back on this side, he's getting in trouble. He's doubling back there. He's doubling back on the other side. He's constantly across the pitch and filling in holes. So
he is. I mean, what I'd say is that he very rarely plays the full 90. He either comes on as a sub or he is taken off if he starts. But now here come Bournemouth with Ryan into the penalty area. The pass was intended for Alex Scott, but guess who's there? It's Jordan Henderson who cuts out that pass, and then it's Schade into Igor Thiago. He takes it down and then in effect plays it into Damsgaard, and here is Dango Otara now pushing forward down the right hand side, heading towards the edge of the area. Otara going for goal. It was easy for Tyler Adams to see what he wanted to do there, and Adams slides in and blocks the shot. It's with Jensen now around 40 yards out on the right hand side. Back to Jordan Henderson. And now it's with Coyote. Brentford have pretty much lost all the pace out of that counter-attack, but they're still in possession.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how much stoppage time does get played in this game, because we had that injury to Henry. He was a minute and a half.
Tavernier as well.
Tavernier early on, yeah. I mean, every time Coyote takes a throw in, that takes 30 seconds to set up, and sometimes he doesn't even throw in it long, does he? Sometimes he sets up for a long throw and then it goes in short. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, the new IFAB suggested rules is going to be 5 seconds for throw-ons from next season, apparently. Whether or not that's true, and actually thinking about it, even a basic throw-on on the halfway line takes longer than 5 seconds to take. So we'll wait and see exactly how that one's enforced. But we're just about into injury time. Actually, we've got a few seconds until our fourth official is going to show us the board. So let's wait and see what's going to be given here in terms of added time. But 2 minutes, in fact, so they've probably been a little bit stingy. They probably could have done with another minute or two, but then the half's not been as entertaining as I think both of us would have been hoping for. There's a real melee inside that 6-yard box as the ball comes in. Evan Nielsen gets his head to it, and then Ryan gets his foot to it, and it's hoofed up to the halfway line, where Coyote stayed back as the last man for Brentford. Has a little bit of trouble taking it down, but he's pushing forward now down the right-hand side, just running into Tavernier, playing it back into Henderson. Henderson's ball into the box is, missed James Hill initially, but then he does get a clearance on it eventually before Collins heads this up in the air, and then a bouncing ball is just hooked forward here by Sharda. Ball is just a bit too quick though for Ayer. Cut out by Hill, and now it's Evan Nielsen, who's a little bit isolated there inside the Brentford half. He needs some support. It's arriving now in the form of Alex Scott, who tries an early ball out, and it's a really good ball as well to find Tavernier. The angle's tight. Tavernier goes for goal. He didn't really have any other options there. The ball is blocked by Kelleher. There's also a deflection off a Brentford defender, and with just under a minute of injury time to play, Bournemouth have a corner.
Yeah, really good run and pass. The run from Tavernier was asking the question of Scott, can you play me in? And yes, he could play him in. Great link-up play with Evan Nielsen just before that as well, but Kelleher, although he's had really nothing to do all game, has pulled off a save just on a stroke of half-time.
He has, and I think Brentford got lucky there. I think that block from Coyote actually deflected back off Tavernier, and there wasn't even much protest from Bournemouth. Didn't even see that after the first replay. Just only after the reverse angle did we get a bit of a hint of that. So yeah, Brentford avoid giving away a corner when they probably thought they had done. And now Kelleher clears it long. And we've only got a few seconds of this half still remaining. And I suppose both managers, if this was a score report for their team at half-time, because they could do better.
Yeah, I think for Brentford, it's just the final ball. I think for Bournemouth, it's just finishing, really. They've had the 3 best chances for me in the game. The Hill header, which he just got completely wrong. The Christie chance where he tried to round the keeper when really he just been shooting. And that one there for Tavernier,
absolutely, yeah. But both sides can certainly improve in the second half. We have now had the half-time whistle. It is goalless, and we're back for you in 15 minutes.
It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. Marcus Tavernier from James It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game. He's all fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Kevin Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0. It's half-time at the Vitality Stadium, where it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. First half in which Brentford probably had the better of the territory and the possession and the general inventiveness of the B side. Jordan Henderson's had a great game as well, fighting fires, but it's Bournemouth who've had the best chances. The first of them, a header from James Hill, which he put over the crossbar. The second, when Ryan Christie played 2-1-2s, rounded Keegan Kelleher, but then from a tight angle lost his footing and it fell wide. And the final one on the stroke of half-time, a good save from Kelleher at the near post from Marcus Tavernier. At half-time, it's 0-0.
Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at the Vitality Stadium. Goalless here between Bournemouth and Brentford. Brentford probably seeing the better of the possession in the first 45, but Bournemouth arguably having the best a couple of chances towards the end. So it's nicely poised for the second half. I think both myself and Si would be looking for a little bit more from both teams, really.
Yeah, I think, for Brentford, they need to just have a little bit more care, a little bit more craft in the final third. I think for Bournemouth, it's just a bit more composure in the box. Long throw-in opportunity. First one of the half here is going to be for the Cherries. And the Bees' defence have retreated to the edge of the 6-yard box. And it comes from Hill towards the near post, headed clear by Igor Thiago. Back whence it came. Cross goes in. Volleyed ball to the back post. Flicked on by Scott, and Evan Nilsson just couldn't quite read it as Coyote lets it run. Evan Nilsson thinks that's going for a corner, but it's actually a goal kick. So Evan Nilsson thinks the referee's got that one wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Evan Nilsson's literally stood over that, letting it go out for a goal kick, for a corner, before he realises that it is actually a goal kick. But yeah, that's what Bournemouth need to do. They were a little bit slow in starting in the first half, so they can hit Brentford early. They'll be looking to try and make a bit of a marker in the second half.
Yeah, so not many goals in the Premier League tonight. All the games that kicked off at 7:30 were 0-0, apart from that Everton against Burnley game, which the Toffees lead, and it's still 0-0 between Wolves and Liverpool. Here comes Jimenez now on the ball for Bournemouth. Ball into the penalty, a great pass and a miss at the back post, hit the woodwork, although he's claiming a penalty here, Tavernier. Tavernier on the back post has hit the post, and eventually the ball has been lost by Scott, but Tavernier got straight back up and appealed for a penalty, claiming he was held, although having seen some of his earlier appeals to the referee, I don't think he's probably right.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he should score anyway. I mean, Bournemouth had a couple of really good chances in the first half. Christie should have scored from a few yards in there. Tavernier, I mean, it was that full stretch. He redirected that ball and it just hit the base of the post with Kelleher beaten.
They've missed 4 chances now, 4 really good chances. And James Tavernier has missed 2 of them. One just before, one just after half-time. Marcus Tavernier, as now the ball's out to the right-hand side now for Jimenez. He looks long, chips it over the top. Run from Ryan. Ryan up against Ayer. Cuts it side, puts a ball into the 6-yard box. It's knocked away by Vanderberg. Comes back to Ryan, who sends a sideways ball back to the edge of the box. Adams and Scott play a 1-2. Scott onto his left foot now. Leaves it for Christie. Christie pings it out to the right for Ryan. Ryan looking for an angle to shoot, but he's bundled over in a tackle, but he gets back to his feet, knocks it wide to Trufer. He then plays it back. Safe harbour of Senesi. Down the line to Trufer. Brentford coming under some concerted pressure here from Bournemouth now. Start of the second half. Tavernier, those penalty appeals seem to have fallen on deaf ears, and we've not seen a VAR angle of it, so I don't think it really was serious.
Well, no, the ball hasn't gone out of play yet, has it? It's been a good couple of minutes of possession here for Bournemouth since then. Yeah,
and they've kept the ball for the most part of that spell, as it's now given away by Ryan. Just pokes it in towards Coyote, who's fouled, is he, by Tavernier. Now he complains again, but the referee's already given the free kick Brentford's way.
He has. Well, now we can finally see a replay of that chance for Bournemouth. I mean, he almost deserves a yellow card for asking for a penalty there, Tavernier, because there's absolutely no contact with Coyote. No. He actually trips himself.
He trips himself and misses. So really,
I'll give him the credit that he does well to actually get it that close to goal when he's losing his balance as well, but there was never a foul on him.
Yeah, he definitely tripped himself there, so that's why it's been turned down as Ryan plays it back now to Adams. A bit of a short back pass there to Petrovic, had to quickly move forward, and his then subsequent pass was away from Trufer, so a little bit slack that from Bournemouth at the back.
Well, absolutely, and we're seeing, well, I'll tell you what, maybe I need to withdraw my previous statement, because looking at that in super slow motion, there was a little bit of foot contact there from Coyote.
I still don't see it, but yeah, maybe you're right. It's very hard, isn't it? And the referee only gets one look at it. Obviously, VAR does get more than one look at it, but they haven't changed the opinion.
There's just, Coyote's left boot just does catch the foot of Tavernier. And Iraola is furiously doing the VAR box with his hands now, isn't he?
Yeah. 5 minutes gone, second half. Already plenty of talking points, but no goals in this game. Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. Long throw-in chance again on the right-hand side, which is going to be taken I think it's by Jensen, isn't it? Jensen's going to have a go now, not Coyote. Into the near post, flicked on by Ayer, booted clear by Hill. Back whence it came, and it's back into the Brentford half before it bounces out for a throw-in. Jensen threatens to take another throw-in, but perhaps he'll leave it to a teammate. But Antonio Iraola wasn't happy about that not being checked, or certainly not being changed by VAR. He felt his side should have had a penalty a few moments ago. I'm still not entirely sure it was worth a penalty. Coyote stretching for the ball. I think he was making an attempt to win the ball, and if there wasn't much contact with Tavernier. Anyway, ball over the top here for Igor Thiago to chase. Is going to be gathered by goalkeeper Petrovic over his head, and the former Chelsea keeper. In fact, is he still on Chelsea's books? Is he
I
on
don't know. He's been a full-time signing now, I think.
Yeah, he's now a Bournemouth player, but hasn't had much to do in this game. Here's Ayer, formerly of Celtic, knocks it back to Collins. Collins to Kelleher. Across now to Vandenberg. He plays it out into midfield. Damsgaard just pokes it around the corner, looking for Ouattara to keep it in, which he does. Coyote now under a bit of pressure comes away with the ball, finds Jensen. Jensen uses his body to shield that away from Scott. Now Coyote takes over. Long striding fullback is coming through midfield, finds Sharda on the left hand side, cutting in on his right foot now. Sharda approaches two defenders, plays it inside, but Ayer was on his heels, and that allows Christie to come in and steal it away. Now there's a counter attack the other way now with Bournemouth, with Scott playing it out a little bit behind Tavernier, who chops back onto his right foot to keep it in play. Now he faces up to the massed ranks of Brentford defenders, plays it wide to Truffert. He's on the edge of the box, puts a cross into the penalty area. It's knocked away by the Bees' defence. Only as far as Scott on the edge. Now to Tavernier, looking for a shooting opportunity, lays it out to Jimenez, who will strike powerfully, but that had no direction or real control, and it's well over the top.
Well, a round of applause from Iraola. I'm assuming that's more for the build-up than the actual shot itself, because the strike from Jimenez was the wrong option. He's a right footer shooting from the right-hand side. Angles were all against him, and he ends up just skying that one a long way wide. As now we have two balls on the pitch. We'll have to deal with that before Brentford can take this goal kick. But but better from Bournemouth, I think, at the start of this second half.
Goal kick still yet to be taken. Now Kelleher finds Collins. Collins passes it around Ryan to Ayer. Gets it back from him again. Linking up with Jensen. Back to Ayer. Ayer now beckoning for somebody to come short from him. He tries to take on Adams. The little 1-2 there almost comes off, but Jensen now passes it forward. The run's been continued by Ayer, but Senesi covered across. Now Jimenez's header finds Christie. Christie almost showed too much of that to Igor Thiago, and now Henderson's on the ball for Brentford. Wide to Coyote. Socks roll down as per. Knocks it back to Henderson. Jensen, the Dane. Plays it back to Henderson. Chips it over the top. Onto the chest of Igor Thiago, but he just gets away from him and out for a throw-in on the far side. And again, we're seeing Brentford's play just getting stuck, getting bogged down in that middle third. They just can't break through the middle third to the final third yet.
No, it's been the passing from Brentford's not really been up to scratch so far this season. They haven't really got enough of their midfield involved, but they've got a chance now.
Yeah, with Ouattara down the right-hand side. He's going to take the man on the far side, gets a ball into the penalty area, knocked away by Hill. Hill got a great position there on the edge of the 6-yard box and marked Igor Thiago well. Now Christie's closed down by Coyote, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side again. Again, the game's been played at a breakneck speed, but just not finding that killer ball. We'll see another replay now of the potential Coyote penalty. Foul on Tavernier. I mean, the thing is, he got the shot away, and all right, he was probably impeded. Does the referee then have the argument to say, I've allowed play on there, maybe?
Possibly,
It'd be a stretch, wouldn't it?
It is. I mean, I think when it comes to a penalty, there can always be that VAR correction, and I think even if the shot had hit the post, they could have still gone back for it. I do wonder as well. I mean, it took a good 3 or 4 replays before we saw the offending moment there. But it's an interesting one. I think on a different day, a different angle, I think that possibly could have been given as a penalty.
Ball's passed back now from the two Bournemouth centre-backs. Hill looking for a pass into the final third there. Is knocked away on the volley by Collins. Sharda Plays it inside to Jensen. Nice little Zidane pirouette from him. And now Damsgaard's going to release the pacey Sharda down the left-hand side. But great cover from Hill, who's having a really good game at the back for Bournemouth. He manages to win the ball and it falls for Kelleher.
It's a good challenge there from Hill. Also from Sharda, as he started cutting into the middle, he pretty much ran straight into Hill's path as well.
Yeah, he was just trying to run across him, wasn't he? And then get goal side, but Hill wouldn't let him. Now Jensen, that's a nice pass into Igor Thiago, edge of the penalty area, right hand side. Played back to Ouattara, who looks for a left-footed cross into the 6-yard box. Nodded away by Hill again. Onto the chest of Tavernier. And now Scott picks up the loose ball, carries it forward, slips it to Evan Nilsson, who was pushed from behind by Van der Berg. Referee says nothing. Now he does give the free kick Bournemouth's way. And he's going to have to just calm a few people down. I think there was a few complaints on the bench there. Andonite Iraola maybe just getting a bit overexcited. I think referee Craig Pawson's had a word with him too. Yeah, well, that's a common feature that is Iraola does sort of live every kick and every decision with his players, doesn't he? So he would have been frustrated about that, but you always have to keep a check on that. Trufer plays the ball back to the edge of his penalty area where Petrovic takes possession and kicks long into the Brentford half and headed away by Aya over the top of Ryan. Second ball there won by Jimenez off the legs of Sharda for a throw-in. Game being watched from up high by Steve Fletcher, the record appearance holder for Bournemouth. Yes, and he would have been at Bournemouth at a time when they were just happy to be surviving in League One. Of course, different times when Stephen Fletcher was a regular for Bournemouth. But there's still a few throwbacks to those days. I mean, Tom Elliott, who was in the Bournemouth squad in those days, he's part of Iraola's coaching staff now. Yeah, and the sporting director is... the name just escapes me now. The sporting director is the guy who replaced Richard Hughes. He's an ex-player of sort of Championship League One vintage as well. Throw-in to be taken right-hand side by Coyote. Launches it long. Now Simon Francis. Ball into the penalty area. He's headed back by Evan Nilsson. Scott trying to reach it on the volley. Claiming again that he was being held back, but the ball falls easily into the hands of the goalkeeper. Simon Francis. Yeah. Simon Francis was the man, as you mentioned, but the ball played up in the air, and Scott really trying to push his way into the penalty area. Jensen did well, but here come Brentford now with Dango Ouattara. His ball into the box is blocked off by Senesi. You made the point as well, both Senesi and Hill are having very good games this evening. Yeah, I've really been impressed by Hill. I know he's not got much of a reputation as he's a top quality Premier League defender, but he's certainly impressed me tonight. Now Ryan carrying the ball forward for Bournemouth, plays it wide to Scott on the edge of the box. Waits for support, back to Ryan it goes. Brentford have got bodies back now. Scott and Ryan just exchanging passes but going nowhere. Now Jimenez in support, a little bit narrow, into the feet of Christie on his left foot. Thought about pulling the trigger, but it wasn't on. Now he pulls the trigger. It's great. Oh, it's just been scuffed wide by Tavernier. Made a great run, almost anticipating that miss-hit shot, but he couldn't quite force it in the back of the net. No, he couldn't, but this is getting more one way now, I would say. Brentford are getting some possession in the Bournemouth half, but they're not doing anything with it, whereas Bournemouth are actually finding the gaps and working their way into the penalty area. Yeah, it feels like we're going to get a breakthrough soon. We are going to get a substitution soon, actually, because Keane Lewis Potter is being readied here by the Bees. So maybe a change of formation? Possibly, yeah. That Keane Lewis Potter, I think Yeho Yarmolenko was stood there potentially coming on for a change as well. So there might be a double change here for Keith Andrews. But it looks like, I mean, if it is Lewis Potter, then it will be somebody out wide. If it is Yarmolenko, then he maybe feels as he needs a little bit more of a boost in midfield. It's a great run from Christie, who's been brought down from behind by Jensen. Jensen was just running across his line there, and Christie goes down. Christie, now the yellow card's been brought out for Jensen, which I think he accepts. I'm not sure why Christie was... Maybe Christie wanted to take the free kick quickly there, possibly. But definitely a foul, and I think we're at that stage where the referee's going to start bringing out yellow cards now. Matthias Jensen into the book on the hour mark. But yeah, I just think change of formation might be what Brentford need. Bournemouth are very much on top, aren't they? You can see they're getting more opportunities in the penalty area, and they are pinning Brentford back, so they need a way out here as the ball's played across by Scott from that short free kick back to Christie. Christie trying to thread it through now to the left-hand side, and Tavernier looks up. Can he deliver a cross? Now he waits, puts it back on his left foot for a ball, which is blocked by Coyote. Perhaps should have come in with his right there. Won back by Christie. Christie does really well, but then loses out by the corner flag to Jensen, who had that tussle moments ago, and he then tackles him out of play for a throw-in. And this might be the moment where Brentford can make their change. So, yeah, I think it's Yarmolyuk for Henderson. Henderson not happy with this decision.
Yeah, well, he's not happy at all. It's not happy. Yeah, every time with a little bit of censorship there from yours truly. But he's not happy at all there, Jordan Henderson. Which again, when you consider the career that he's had, I actually think it's really refreshing that he cares as much as he does. Yeah.
He definitely did not agree with the decision, but has shaken hands with Yarmolyuk, and he's probably avoiding the eye gaze of his manager as he goes back to the bench.
He is, yeah. He's not happy at all there, Jordan Henderson. But, he obviously would have felt as though his presence on the pitch could have given Brentford that little extra boost to actually get this game over the line. But Heath Andrews obviously feeling as though he needs a little bit of youthful sort of movement in that midfield rather than the experience of Henderson. But he's been everywhere for Brentford.
Yarmolyuk's first pass is a lofted pass back to his goalkeeper, although he's got away with that because there was an offside just before it. But the cameras are lingering on Jordan. Jordan Henderson will know that the cameras are on him now. He perhaps thought that nobody would spot him with his reaction when he was initially saw his number go up. Ball chipped forward by Damsgaard. He's headed away by the Bournemouth defence and then lost by Tavernier, collected by Coyote. Coyote again running free in midfield. He's a dangerous runner on the ball, isn't he? He's got it again, and he's got a head of steam up. He's begging for teammates to come alongside him. Now he's pushed over there by Scott. The referee does eventually give the free kick after a bit of thought.
He does, yeah. It took him a little while there, Craig Paulson, to confirm the free kick to Brentford. It's in quite a central position, but still a long way out from goal. As Coyote, there's not too much in that really, but enough of a push there from Alex Scott suggests that it's a free. Keenan Dewsbury Hall, by the way, has just doubled Everton's lead. They're now 2-0 up at home to Burnley.
Yeah, they've not had many home wins, have they, Everton, this season? But that'll be a welcome one. They're still in they are very much in the mix for European football.
Well, it just shows you how well Everton have done when you consider that their home form recently has been really poor, including Brentford, who just after the new year ended up scoring 4 there.
Yeah, they're obviously still missing Jack Grealish out for the season. That was a big blow to them, but been finding ways to score. Got 3 at Newcastle at the weekend. Here's the free kick for Brentford. They got 4 at the weekend, but have struggled to make any kind of impact in this game in the final third. They have been scoring regularly away from home. I think multiple goals have come quite regularly for the Bees on the road, but not tonight. So far, ball in the box from that short free kick is punched away by Petrovic. His first serious bit of action for quite some time. Comes back now to Yarmolyuk, who puts a high ball into the penalty area. Petrovic comes with a nice claim. He drops it, but then picks it up by his feet and rolls it out. They try and get on the attack here with Adams. Tavernier back to Senesi. Poor touch from him, but he manages to find a route through to Truffert. Down the line, flicked inside by Tavernier. Won back by Brentford. Ball played forward, and a towering header by Senesi wins it for the Cherries again. Now Christie's got arms on him from Igor Thiago. Free kick given against him. And Senesi slow to get up after that aerial challenge, so maybe the referee blew the whistle because he saw him down on the turf as well. He's still very slow to get back. He looks winded here, I think, Marcus Senesi. The referee is just giving him a moment to regain his composure. Got a bit of a dig in the ribs there, I think.
He did, yeah. This will give Bournemouth a chance. There wasn't much of a Brentford attack there anyway, but it just allows Bournemouth to get back into possession. And they've looked much the better side in these first 19 minutes.
Free kick taken by the Bournemouth defender after he gets back to his feet, headed away by Vandenberg. And then Yarmolyuk back to him again. Closed down quickly, and it goes out for a throw-in off Alex Scott. So Brentford with the ball just 5 yards outside the penalty area. Coyote winding up to lob it down the line, plays it short onto the chest of Damsgaard, who volleys it up in the air, away by Truffert, back to the Dane. He was closed down there by a retreating Christie. Again, it's ball just been humped forward and flicked on. It's almost going back to the 1990s footballers, isn't it? It's got a very bitty and very sort of lack of quality, lack of composure on the ball really between the teams at the moment. It's a bit of an arm wrestle, and it needs somebody just to get the foot on the ball. Eventually taken back by Bournemouth. Senesi to Hill, and now Jimenez. Socks rolled down the right-hand side to Ryan. He was quickly closed down, but the ball breaks kindly for Evan Nilsson. Nice turn to get away from Yarmolyuk, and he sets it out to the left-hand side for Tavernier. Can he get a cross in? Whips it in towards the penalty spot, just behind Evan Nilsson, who'll battle hard for the ball. Rises in a challenge. It breaks away Christie. He's turned nicely away from Yarmolyuk. Christie battling for possession edge of the penalty area. He's got a nice touch, and he can't quite feed it through to Ryan as Brentford clear through Ouattara. He's been held back, is he? And the referee eventually gives the free kick Brentford's way.
He does. He gives the free kick to Brentford, although Craig Paulson, for the time being, still hasn't produced a yellow card. Where really, Truffert stopping the run there of.
We had one for Jensen, didn't we? About 10 minutes ago.
Yes, he does. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Jensen did get a yellow card, but it's been. I think from Brentford's point of view, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed they haven't really been able to just try and get the game a little bit more into their favour, because I expected Bournemouth to come out and make a good start in this second half, but they haven't really, Brentford haven't really been able to respond yet. It's been over 20 minutes now. Yeah,
Jensen takes the free kick. It's a lovely little ping onto the chest of Aya down the left, but Ryan made a good tackle from the blind side. And he plays a 1-2 there, does he? And the referee says no, the pass back to him was out of play beforehand, and Brentford have another chance for a long throw, and I would imagine Coyote will come across here to take it. Bournemouth filing back. No, it's going to be Jensen. He's on the long throws again now. We've had a goal elsewhere in the Premier League.
We have indeed, yeah. Leeds have now taken the lead at home to Sunderland, and it's a goal scored by Joe Rodon.
So Coyote just waits in midfield for Jensen to take this throw in. And lots of bodies around Petrovic in that 6-yard box. They're all swirling around as well. They're not just staying still. And in comes the throw from Jensen, headed away by Christie. Drops on the edge here to Coyote, who's on the right foot, plays it to Ouattara. Ouattara goes on the outside of his man, gets the ball into the 6-yard box, knocked away by Evan Nilsson. His arms were behind his back there, so there was no real chance of it being a handball. Cleared away by the home side, out for a throw, and we've reached that halfway point in the second half. Still no goals in this game. Take you through to full time. It's going to be Paul Shabakovich.
Thank you very much, Simon. Yes, and see the stats there. Bournemouth had 4 attempts on goal in the first half, and Brentford had 2 in the second half. Bournemouth have had 5 attempts on goal. Brentford have yet to register any kind of effort on goal. And just to say that that goal for Leeds has now been chalked off after a VAR review, so that game has gone back to 0-0 between Leeds and Sunderland. But here are Brentford in possession now with Jensen, square to Yarmolyuk. It's Coyote now on the right hand side, under a little bit of pressure going back in towards Yarmolyuk. Jensen, early ball into Dango Ouattara, tried to backheel that in towards Damsgaard. Got out here by Truffert, but Brentford fighting for it here in midfield. Truffert gets a second chance to clear that one. He gets a lot more distance on that. It's over the halfway line, and it will bounce all the way through towards Vandenberg. Collins now being closed down by Alex Scott. Brentford keeping possession here though, with Yarmolyuk now heading back towards his goalkeeper Kelleher. Long clearance from him, nodded forward by Igor Thiago. A little bit awkward bounce there for Senesi, but he got there just ahead of Sharda. Ball back in midfield now with Tavernier, nodding that one to Evan Nilsson. Back to Marcus Tavernier. He's off down the left-hand side, gets away from Yarmolyuk, but he has to stop his run and just go back in towards Truffert. Things just slowing down here for Bournemouth, but still enjoying more possession than they were in the first half, and they're actually getting closer and closer to generating some decent chances. But for the time being, just sat back here on the halfway line. The ball now played back towards the goalkeeper. Petrovic clears it long, headed forward here by Collins for Brentford. It's over the head of Damsgaard. Bit of a heavy touch there from Truffert. He wanted to go back towards goal, but now he's having to think about something else. In the end, he's bailed out really by his former teammate there, Dango Ouattara, who's just got his body in the way. And the ball is now deflected out for a goal kick. And in the meantime, I mean, Adley's getting ready to come on.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Adley, he scored that late goal against Liverpool, didn't he? I think this ground a month or so ago. He's got an ability to finish. He's got an ability to beat a man as well. So maybe they're looking for him to just provide a little bit of spark. I would think probably down the right-hand side. So that's going to be in place of Ryan, maybe. Yeah,
potentially. I think Ryan's probably just run his race a little bit in this game. But what a great run that is from Scott, jinking through 3 players and then over towards the left-hand side where Tavernier's ball is cut out here by Michael Coyote, and it's out for a Bournemouth corner.
Yeah, I mean, the corners haven't come to much so far, but there was so much jostling around a 6-yard box, and the referee obviously keeping a close eye on it. You never know what might happen here, so Brentford have got to be careful. They're not going to make the change just yet. They're going to keep Ryan on with his height for this corner.
Absolutely. It's an unwritten rule in football. You don't really make changes just before a corner, particularly the defending team. Sometimes the attacking team can get away with it, but it's going to be a corner kick whipped in here from the left-hand side. It's not going to be whipped in. It's a short ball here. Scott to Christie, then back to Truffaut. He puts a low ball into the box. Wrong option there, easily cleared. And then Jimenez trying a very speculative error from 30 yards. Charged down by Matthias Jensen, who then has a very heavy touch. I mean, I think he was trying to pass it to Igor Thiago, but pass was too short. Bournemouth cut it out. Brentford are back in possession, though, because the long ball into the box is just straight through towards Quayman Kelleher. Now, just a quick update from the game at Ellen Road. I mentioned that the goal for Leeds had been chalked off after a VAR, and now we're hearing there's a penalty for Sunderland in that game. So just the space of 5 or 6 minutes, a complete turnaround from Leeds, thinking they're 1-0 up to now potentially being a goal down. But back here at the Vitality, it is Brentford on the attack here down the right with Mikkel Damsgaard running into Ryan Christie. It's with Jensen now back over towards Damsgaard on the right-hand side. Closed down by Christie again, so he gets in towards Jensen. Jensen then hoofs the ball into the box. It's a decent one as well, actually, and it drops to Dango Ouattara, but the effort, he concentrated so hard on keeping that. It was headed down by Schade, and then a shot on target from Dango Ouattara, but it's straight down the middle. Yeah,
it was a nice setup, and he just couldn't quite wrap his leg around the ball. On his left foot, he's just tried to hit it down into the ground and not made the best contact.
Didn't quite work out for Dango Ouattara, but that's certainly the best move that Brentford have put together in this second half, and it's taken over 25 minutes. But here come Bournemouth now towards the edge of the area. Ryan Christie just held onto the ball for a little bit too long. He just allows Mikkel Damsgaard to get the ball away, plays it into Dango Ouattara. Ouattara now over the halfway line. Just stops his run, goes back in towards Ayer. Seems like quite a planned thing this from Brentford, just to slow things down, actually see a bit more of the ball and try and work their way into the Bournemouth half. I can tell you that penalty for Sunderland has been converted. It was Diarra for the visitors, so it's Leeds 0, Sunderland 1 at Ellen Road. So that just leaves our game and the game at Molineux as being goalless in the Premier League this evening. Here come Brentford now with Dango Ouattara on the right-hand side. Ball into Schade. Really good header away from Hill. Just got there ahead of Kevin Schade. Ball cleared back into midfield. Jensen keeping it alive. Damsgaard pushed off the ball by Alex Scott, and that will be a free kick to Brentford in a half-decent position.
Yeah, this Adley substitution seems to have been shelved, doesn't it? What's going on with that?
Yes, it seems to be taking a while, whether or not they've sort of had second thoughts, but now they are going to do that
double change. Yeah,
it's going to be Adley, and I think that's Krupi just behind him. But I think, as you said, Ryan is going to be going off here to be replaced by Amin Adley. And I think the other change potentially might be Evan Nilsson, but we'll just wait to see.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Evan Nilsson's had a good game for me. I think he's played really well, and he's always looked bright. And
Christie, in fact.
Yeah, okay. Well, that I'm happy with that because, like I say, I think Evan Nilsson had a great game.
He did, and actually, Eli Krupi can play as a sort of a number 10. He doesn't have to be the out-and-out striker, but I like that from Andoni Iraola. The fact that he's brought on. I mean, Ryan and Adley are both very attacking players, but Krupi potentially even more attack-minded than someone like Ryan Christie. So it does give Bournemouth an extra attacking option if they can get that ball back into the final third. Just to say that it's half-time at Molineux and it's goalless. Wolves are starting to show a little bit more fighting spirit now, potentially now that it's too late, but at least they're trying to get into a better mindset for next season.
Yeah.
Holding the league champions this evening, but it's a free kick to Brentford. Jensen's ball in, it's stopped by Petrovic, but he can only parry it, and he gets the good fortune there that there were Brentford players to the left and to the right of him, but nobody straight down the middle, and the ball is just about dealt with.
Yeah, it was an awkward header. I think it might have been Vandenberg who's got the final touch there before Petrovic makes the change, but decent set piece, lovely quality on the pass for the curling cross, if you like, from Jensen, and Bournemouth were struggling to defend that.
They certainly were, and Brentford are now struggling to get rid of the ball in front of their own penalty area. They've held on to it for that long that Bournemouth have started pressing in the meantime, but they do finally get it away here down the left with Jensen. To Damsgaard, back to Jensen. They're into the Bournemouth half now, but still a long way from goal is Jan Molyuk. Out to Vandenberg, who's pushing forward almost like a midfielder here. Vandenberg gets to the edge of the area. Now he finds Coyote. Plenty in the box for Coyote. That's a really poor cross. The ball gets a slight deflection after that header, and then it's cleared to the halfway line. That's a real shame. All he's got to do is lift that a little bit higher.
Yeah. There's been a few crosses that have just not had that quality tonight. Jensen, that's a lovely pass from him there to pick out Coyote, and then he couldn't bring it down. Difficult one for him to take that, I suppose. But we're seeing that chance for Vandenberg then from the set piece moments ago. Well, he's onside.
He is onside. I think there is another Brentford player, although Collins did jump for the ball. Potentially, you could argue that he was offside, but it's a decent header. And actually, it's not a bad save from Petrovic because the ball was right in front of him as well.
Yeah, he saves it, and then the ball sort of in a sort of dangerous area for a moment, but he's fortunate that it's a Bournemouth player that gets on it first.
Absolutely, and it's out for a throw here to Bournemouth, just level with their own penalty area. Jimenez into Hill, who then just hoofs it long, but it actually works out like a really good ball because Vandenberg's misjudged the flight of that, and it's gone straight through to Evan Nilsson. Evan Nilsson then feeding a ball out towards the left for Tavernier, who smashed it into the post for the second time this evening. He's got such a wicked left foot, and he must have thought he'd scored there.
Yeah, I think everybody in the ground thought he'd scored there. Evan Nilsson, again, absolutely fantastic. He just completely... Vandenberg's out of the game because he misjudges the ball, but then he then plays the ball in behind Vandenberg to Tavernier, who smashes the ball, as you say, against it's almost the corner of the crossbar and post, isn't it? Keeper well beaten. Yeah,
it's almost a weld between the two, isn't it? He's pretty much got it into there, but it's something that Kelleher's beaten. It's gone for that near post, and Iraola must be getting more frustrated now because his side were trying to contain Brentford for long spells in the first half. You certainly can't say that about the second. Bournemouth have been the better side.
I don't know what XG is saying here, but I would think it's heavily in favour of Bournemouth, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'll check that for you in just a moment. I'll just see out this Brentford attack because the ball almost gets through towards Sharda. Yeah, the XG across the game is 1.75 for Bournemouth, and Brentford are 0.26. But that's good work there from Igor Thiago. He's won the ball back high up the field. His ball into the penalty area that doesn't quite reach its intended target of Kevin Sharda. And Truffert can bring the ball away here for Bournemouth down the left-hand side. He plays a quick ball in for Tavernier. It's too quick, though. Vandenberg should get there first, and he plays it back to Kelleher. Can't take too long on the ball. There are plenty of Bournemouth players lurking. But Kelleher, for the time being, just quite happy to roll this ball towards Vandenberg. He gets it back. Evan Nilsson and Krupi are still within striking distance as the ball is now back with Collins. Brentford are getting themselves into a cul-de-sac again here, and it's eventually Kelleher clearing this long up to the halfway line, nodded forward by Tyler Adams. The ball just completely missed by Jensen, and now it's a chance here for Evan Nilsson. So drops a shoulder, drops another shoulder. Evan Nilsson must score. That is superb from Evan Nilsson. Brentford have their hand up for an offside, and that is confirmed as well. I mean, even if it does prove to be offside, the fact that you can see Evan Nilsson just with that ease that Brazilian players have, dropping shoulders, leaving players all over the place.
Yeah, it was a real quality finish, but unfortunately for him, it's not going to count. We're just seeing it again now, and he is offside.
Yes.
He's offside by 5 yards. Maybe the Brentford, you could say maybe the Brentford players in the back of their minds knew that, and they were making challenges that they thought probably not going to matter anyway. But the way he made them sort of sit down and took the chance was quite impressive. However, it counts for nothing.
Yep, it's as I say, won't even need a VAR check for this one. That's probably a decision that, even though linesmen are told to keep their flags down these days, he probably could have confidently just put his flag up there, really. But the confirmation that was offside. Long clearance here from Kelleher, headed forward by Thiago, and then poor control there from Dango Otara. He leaves the ball and he slides in to try and win that back off Senesi. He does put the ball out for a throw. So at least he stops a quick Bournemouth counter, but it is still the Cherries in possession. So just to confirm, it is still Everton 2, Burnley 0, and Leeds 0, Sunderland 1 in the other two. And that was in fact the last act for Evan Nilsson, and now it's the young Turkish forward Enes Ünal that's come on to replace him.
Yeah, he's more of a battering ram, isn't he? I mean, he's got good technical ability, but he's more, sort of getting there where the boots and the muck's flying, and he'll scrap around for possession as well. Evan Nilsson, is one that will come a bit shorter and play, and link up play, whereas I think Enes Ünal is just, I'm going to stay up here against the last defender, and you either play me in behind or I'm going to fight it out with him. So slightly different approach. Now maybe he'll dovetail better with Krupi, who's struggled to get into the game since coming on. Yeah,
absolutely. Nice touch there from Igor Thiago. He just made sure the ball went out for a corner. He ran into one of the Bournemouth, I think it was a photographer. There's somebody in a Bournemouth kit. He looked a little bit too old to be a ball boy. But nice to see Evan Nilsson just giving the guy a high five. No issues there. Brentford were asking the question about a handball. I mean, the first thing to say is that James Hill is outside the box, I think, when he handles this.
Yeah, natural position, outside the box, nothing to see.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't need to say VAR take up enough time without us having to do additional checks ourselves.
Well, it's not even VARable, is it?
No, exactly, yeah. It was always outside the box, but it's an in-swinger here from Dango Ouattara, straight onto the head of Marcus Tavernier. The ball's still inside the penalty area. There's a Bournemouth man down holding his face, and that is going to stop play. I'm just trying to see who that was. I think it's Adley that's complaining that he's been struck in the face, but play's been stopped anyway.
Yeah, he's just been attended to by his teammates there. Let's see how it happened. It's Adams. Ooh. Adams gets an accidental shove stroke elbow from Sharda at the back post.
Yeah, he's a tough player, Tyler Adams, but that's always going to be a painful one there. Particularly when it's, I always think that when it's so unexpected, as I mean, obviously no one's expecting to get hit in that way, but it's just when it comes out of nowhere like that, the shock of it can be just as much of a problem as the actual collision itself.
Yeah. He's just rinsing his mouth out now. A bit of blood around it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a blood injury there as well for the USA international. So we'll wait to see whether or not he's going to have to obviously go off momentarily, whether or not he has to come back a little bit later. But for the 22nd time in this second half, we are seeing the moment Michael Coyote trod on Marcus Tavernier, who then hit the post. I think what we can assume from the TV director showing us that again is that they feel it was a penalty. Yeah,
probably the TV commentators are picking it apart in minute detail because there's not a lot else to talk about. There has been a lot of good chances for Bournemouth. They've missed them. Tavernier's missed 3. Other players have had opportunities and not taken them. Brentford haven't really created many opportunities in this half, have they?
No.
I think, their 0.26 was it XG was probably the same as at half time.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that in fact I can tell you now that Brentford's XG in the first half, it
was even less.
Even less, absolutely, right. which is quite unusual because I thought that at least they put together a few moments. Their XG for the second half is higher, but then just as an example of how XG, I'll break off that, but I've got a good example of that. But here come Bournemouth now down the right hand side with Enisu now in towards Adley. Adley's ball is into the side netting. What I was going to say was that when Man City put 10 or 11 past Exeter in the FA Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, third round. Yeah,
their XG was 2.8.
Yeah.
So it isn't the perfect stat by any stretch, but it just goes to show. I think that's probably the highest, possibly the highest score compared to XG since XG was first rolled out. I can't think of any other side getting into double figures, certainly not in this country. But a nice control there from Dango Ouattara. He finds Igor Thiago, and Igor Thiago then to Sharda at the edge of the area. He's trying to work himself some space into the box. He's given himself too much to do. Combination of Hill and Jimenez just standing strong and getting that ball away from Kevin Sharda. Jimenez's ball up to the halfway line is overhit for anyone in a black and red Bournemouth shirt, and Brentford now have possession with Collins heading back towards his goalkeeper Kelleher. Kelleher out towards the right-hand side for Vandenberg. As I say, it's before kick-off. I think many would have thought that Brentford would have had a decent shout. It's certainly not a foregone conclusion that Brentford come to Bournemouth, even with their stats of never losing to Bournemouth in the Premier League era. But this is a great run from Collins. He's got all the way into the penalty area. Plays a quick one too, and he's has he won his side a corner? I don't think he has. In the end, he got the final touch. But sometimes you need that, where a centre back just suddenly goes on a mad run and it just wakes the team up.
Yeah, well, Vandenberg did it 5-10 minutes ago as well, and it seems like maybe there is a bit more license now because of the way that Bournemouth have gone 2 up top. The way that they can almost step into midfield a little bit more because there's one less in midfield for Bournemouth, so it allows a centre back to maybe step in. Obviously, somebody, one of the full backs have to drop in and cover them.
Yeah, well, this is a good challenge here because Krupi's just been caught in possession inside his own half, and it's now with Damskar just in front of the penalty. Here goes to Yarmoliuk, just in front of the D. Thought about going for a shot, but just goes out towards Coyote on the right-hand side. His cross gets a big deflection that completely changes direction, and that's great work from Yarmoliuk. He wins the ball back. That's twice that Krupi's lost the ball in front of his own penalty area, and here comes Damsgaard's ball into the box. It's nodded clear, and there should be enough time there for Alex Scott to keep that in play to avoid any corner kick being given, and Scott now can bring the ball away himself. He's looking up for a long ball, and he does play a long ball over the top, looking for the run of Adley, and Adley tries to lob Kelleher. It was the right right idea because Kelleher was off his line, but he ended up putting the ball that high that Kelleher had enough time to get back on his line.
Yeah, it was. There was nothing else on, so why not have a go? If he pulls this off, then he's an absolute magician. But he just went a little bit too high and easily sailed into the hands of the keeper.
Yeah, comfortable save in the end as Damsgaard moves forward here for Brentford in towards Jensen, just at the edge of the area. Just got a little bit more end-to-end now towards the game. That's not a good ball from Damsgaard. Straight to Tyler Adams. And Adams is off now on the right-hand side now, challenged by Damsgaard. And out for a throw. It does have the slight feel. I mean, I know Bournemouth have struck the woodwork in the last 10 or 15 minutes or so, but it just feels like it is petering out slowly into a potential 0-0 now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe if this had been later on in the season, then we might see one manager tactically change it, or go for it in a bigger way.
I'll tell you what, this is a nice touch. It just shows that there obviously is some warm feeling towards Dango Ouattara. He's getting an ovation from the home fans as well.
That is good, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, he was a player that served Bournemouth really well. Didn't ask for the move, did he? But obviously you're not going to turn it down when it's that much money. And
no, well, it would have been a good money for Bournemouth. It would have been a pay rise for Dango Ouattara and the chance to move to London. So it was always going to be. It was always going to be a difficult one, I think, to turn down. And, of course, had he known that Semenya was definitely on his way out, maybe that would have changed his thinking. But I don't think so. I think he saw it as a good opportunity. Brentford had just lost 2 of their forwards as well. So he saw it as a way of sort of transplanting himself into another starting 11, effectively.
Absolutely. I mean, he's had an okay game, hasn't he? But it's been tough for any of the Brentford attackers really to show their best tonight.
Yeah, it's not been a good night for Brentford in the final third. They've done well to sort of keep Bournemouth at bay when Bournemouth have been on top. It's just when Brentford have had their spells of possession, haven't really been able to do too much with it. But as it is for most of this evening, Jensen now on the long throws. He launches that one into the box. Ayer nods that one towards the goal kick. And it would have been a goal kick for Bournemouth had it not been Jimenez just nervously nodding that ball as well. So it's a freebie of a corner for Brentford now.
Yeah, it was almost like an involuntary reaction from Jimenez, wasn't it? I mean, he must have heard the shouts, or he must have known that that was going to be a goal kick, and then he just couldn't draw his head back in time. So an unnecessary corner given away. Can Brentford profit?
Yeah, this is 87.5 minutes on the clock. It is still goalless at the Vitality, but it's going to be a corner kick for Brentford now from the left-hand side here with Matthias Jensen. As always, there's almost a scrum inside that 6-yard box, and as always, the referee has to tell the players to stop it. The players will say, "No problem, ref," and then they'll carry on doing exactly what they were doing before. So don't waste your time, Mr. Pawson. As I say, to tell Mr. Webb on the WhatsApp group that it's a waste of time. But anyway, it's going to be a corner kick here to Brentford with Jensen. Sort of take 2. He was already waiting to whip it in, but he had to stop himself with the referee. Just having a quick word with the players. Jensen's ball into the 6-yard box. It's headed up in the air a long way by Kevin Schade and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, he actually got a good jump in there, and first contact. That's what you're hoping for from Jensen's point of view, but it was a poor contact. It wasn't the eyebrows that he was looking for. It was the full forehead, and it went well over the bar. Yeah,
well over the bar in the end. Long clearance now from Petrovic. Over the halfway line, nodded forward here by Krupi, by Adley. Then Krupi takes a touch, but his pass isn't particularly accurate. It's blocked off here by Coyote, who was losing his balance, and he just about got his balance back and then lost the ball anyway. There's a bit of a fight for it in midfield. There's a lunge there from Enes Unal. Sai made the point when Unal was coming on that he's there to try and take the shot and shell, and that was proof of it there.
Well, I mean, I think the referee he left the previous one go, and Unal thought, well, that's carte blanche for me to go in and take the guy out, and he made that reckless challenge, but the referee didn't give a free kick against it because the Brentford player rode the tackle and they kept the ball.
He did, absolutely. As a throw on here to Brentford now inside their own half. We're about 40 seconds away from seeing the fourth officials board, and Brentford now win it back after the throw from Ayer was initially blocked off, and Schade was there to try and win it back, but now Tavernier has it for Bournemouth down the left-hand side, out towards Truffert. Didn't want to launch a long ball in, it just plays it back towards Senesi. Here is Tyler Adams now being closed down by Igor Thiago. Back towards Petrovic. And here come Bournemouth again now. Long ball here from James Hill, headed away by Coyote. With Keane Lewis Potter. Plays that one to Damsgaard. He just about kept it in play, but he was stretching so much that he couldn't actually play it to a teammate in doing that. And our fourth official has just confirmed. Is that a 4? I can see that. No, a 5 in fact. So we've got 5 minutes still to play to see if we can find a winner, or is it going to peter out into a 0-0, which he has had that feeling about it for some time. But now Bournemouth win it after Jensen was caught in possession. And here is Krupi now in towards Enisu now. A bit of a heavy touch there to try and get away from Collins. It was the right idea, but Collins never gave up on it. He tracked it and he puts it out for a throw.
Yeah, they're just playing in straight lines at the moment, aren't they? There needs to be a little bit more, just a bit more consideration about Bournemouth's play. I think they're just a bit too frantic to try and get that ball forward, when if they just waited for the fullbacks to get in support, got everybody in position, they'd have a better chance of scoring a goal. But now they have a chance to get all the players they want into the penalty area for a long throw. Yeah,
and it's going to be James Hill, who does have a long throw, and he really does have a long throw. He launches that one into the 6-yard box. Igor Thiago, who does quite like to get on long throws when they're at the other end of the field. He does well in defence there, just to nod that clear back to the halfway line, where Jimenez drops a shoulder and gets that ball out from, gets it away from Igor Thiago. Nice bit of link up there between to Jimenez and Adams, and then looks like Keane Lewis Potter gets his body in the way of the ball, and then Jimenez fouls him.
Yeah, it's good defending. Just make sure he gets the body in there, and then whatever Jimenez does, just couldn't stop his momentum, brings him down. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The TV have just given James Hill player of the match. I thought he's been excellent all the way through, leading from sort of centre back position. And
yeah, absolutely. I hadn't seen Hill too much, but I did see him earlier this season in the Carabao Cup game between these two sides, and he looked good on that occasion as well. He actually played at right back on that occasion.
I think he's had some loan spells away from Bournemouth, quite a few actually, and I think one of them might have been at Leeds, and some Leeds fans I remember saying, is this the same guy that played for us? Because he was absolutely rubbish for us.
Well, sometimes players just have a little bit of... Sometimes it only takes a nervous start and then it's very difficult to get it back. But he certainly has grown a lot in this half-season since I saw him play back in August or in September. In any case, it's a long ball over the top now from Senesi in towards Tavernier. Oh, when he gets away from his man, he's all the way into the line. Lays it back. Oh, it's going to be into there. Oh, it's just wide. How on earth has that not gone in? Eli Krupi has just dragged the ball wide from about 6 yards with all the Brentford players moving across to that near post. Everyone of a Bournemouth persuasion, fans, players, the manager, all got their head in their hands.
Yeah, Senesi's ball into the feet there of Truffert, who just manages to... was it Tavernier? Cuts the ball back, and then Krupi arriving... Well, you want him to arrive early, and it's been deflected wide.
By his own teammate.
Yeah, deflected off his own teammate, so not his fault. It's gone away from target. He was putting it towards the corner, but his teammate couldn't get out of the way.
No, he couldn't, as Stephen Fletcher looks on. As I say, it's nice to see that there are those players from that era still very much involved with Bournemouth. Ball now back here with Kelleher.
James Hill, by the way, born in Bristol, plucked from Fleetwood for about £1 million by Bournemouth in 2022. He's had loan spells at Hearts and Blackburn, so not Leeds. It must have been Blackburn.
Yeah, but only 24 years of age. So as I say, and 6 foot as well. So it's a decent height for a centre back. As the ball now going into the penalty area, it's dealt with there by Ayer. Back towards Schade, who's having to help in defence now. We've got 90 seconds of injury time left. Schade has been caught in possession just in front of his own box. Lovely bit of play here as it's Jimenez across the 6-yard box. How have Bournemouth not scored here at the end of this game? It's cleared to the halfway line now. It was Enisu now who couldn't quite redirect the ball. It's played back into the penalty area. Ayer with the header clear, and it's now with Matthias Jensen, and he's now going through the gears over the halfway line. He's been tracked by Tyler Adams all the way. That's going to be a yellow card for the American. Brentford want to take it quickly. The referee probably won't let them.
Yeah, that was a professional foul, wasn't it, to stop the counter-attack. The Dane was getting away from him. He just clatters into him, and then almost rugby tackles him as he goes down. That was like just making sure there from Tyler Adams.
Yes, absolutely. He knew exactly what he was doing there. There was no complaints when he got the yellow card, because he wanted the yellow card. He wanted the referee to stop play to make sure that Brentford couldn't take the free kick quickly. And by the time Brentford do take the free kick, it's just going to be a pump ball long, and we're going to have around 30 seconds still to play. So can't see there being anything else happening here as Marcus... I think that's a mistake. We've just seen that Tavernier has been shown a yellow card. I don't think that he would deserve one for that, but it certainly was Adams with the foul. It's going to be a free kick here to Brentford, and it's Jensen standing over it. Bournemouth have set up quite a high line with their offsides. It won't be easy for Brentford to get the ball into the box. Jensen now does try it. It's headed on here by Collins, partially cleared by Scott. It drops to Damsgaard. Collins with his back to goal, then rolls it towards Yarmoliuk. We've had the full 5 minutes now, but so we're playing a few extra seconds here as Brentford are still on the attack. It's Yarmoliuk's ball into the box, headed up in the air. It actually comes off Alex Scott. A bit of pushing and shoving there before the ball is nodded clear. Then the referee's going to stop play for a head injury, which I'm not sure you need to do that when the game's pretty much finished anyway. But
yeah, Craig
Pawson.
Scott, is it?
Yeah, just standing over Alex Scott. I remember that I think the corresponding fixture, in fact, that the game between Bournemouth and Brentford last season, I seem to remember, had an unnecessary 2 minutes of added time added to the added time, and then they've got a really bad head injury in the meantime as well. So it is a drop ball, and I said the referee's just being a little bit too officious now. He could just end the game, really.
Well, after all the high-scoring games we had in the Premier League recently, I guess we were due a 0-0, weren't we?
Yeah.
Sadly, it's on our watch.
It is on our watch, sadly, but I think from both these sides, I think we'll be quite happy because their defences aren't known for being the sturdiest, and now just as a long clearance there from Petrovic, it is all over then. So it's finished goalless at the Vitality between Bournemouth and Brentford. Thank you very much for joining.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct